There are few absolutes in this world, but something recently that is making a serious run at becoming one of those few things is the connection between DEI and failure. Renegade Online. God bless it, we've got another wonderful new Star Wars character, because everybody has been longing for so many years for a trans trooper. Yeah. Sister. Araxis says, have you seen the news about Halo? I did start looking at that. I think I bookmarked some things on X. We'll talk a little bit about that, I think. A lot of the woke projects that we have been wading through for a long time were greenlit, I think, when ESG was seen as a way of getting a new market. So they didn't know any better. But new stuff being announced, and this goes into his $10 super chat, is now being done amidst the flaming wreckage of all of the failed woke franchises. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we begin to see the true believers, the core that really needed to be avoided. That's a great super chat and member chat. Thank you, Araxis. And it is something that I have discussed here, and I'll speak on this briefly before we get into the box office news and bring in the guests, because you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. There is some, albeit very slim, degree of forgiveness, let's call it, for the mistakes by management in some cases. I don't know if Disney falls under some cases here, because we know that Disney is very steeped in this socio-political ideology. But for others out there, some game studios, for example, or Warner Brothers or Paramount or some of these kind of things, they can be forgiven early on for being gaslit with this, as we've discussed before. Hey, it seems like a great idea, right? If you just add these types of actors and characters and folks and whatnot, or storylines into shows that you're already doing, or make separate shows with the same kind of budgets that you're doing now, with these types of characters and lifestyles in them, then you're going to grab this whole other market. Part of that, of course, was a lie to suggest that they didn't reach those other markets already. A lot of these folks, are normal people. They're watching the same television shows and movies and playing the same video games that we've all played. It's tantamount to me playing the clip again right now of Amanda Stenberg talking about how she was so happy to be part of making Star Wars a safe place for black nerds, ignoring the fact that even back in 1983 and before that, but that's when we have the news footage of a very, very widely diverse group of folks, all just excited about the final chapter of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, outside of the movie theater. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, I mean, everybody, men, women, probably even gay in there too, of course, straight. And I mean, we don't know, because none of that matters, and people didn't care, but today we're supposed to care. So yeah, these studios are led down the Primrose path, or in some cases, maybe the road to hell, because, as you know, it's typically paved with good intentions. The issue, though, is you're right, Araxis. We have passed the point of no return on this one. The writing is on the wall. The die is cast. We can point to countless examples, time and time again, year after year, month after month, day after day, of all of these ridiculous projects coming out that are very, very targeted at one very small commercial group. And even if they were as great in number as some would have you believe, and specifically talking about, a lot of the LGBTQ stuff that's being popped into video games. Let's stick with that for the moment. They're obviously either non-existent, or they don't care about the video games, or they don't care about these shows. They don't care about these films. Because you see, most people out there aren't so shallow and so emotionally vapid that their entire existence is somehow singularly linked only to some lifestyle category or to some immutable characteristic, like we always say here. For example, I don't watch things with people in it just because they're straight and white. And I'm sure that probably for most gay folks out there, they're not watching things expressly because the characters in them are gay. But this is what is going on now, and you have all of these DEI consultancy firms, be they work for a video game developer, a game studio, or be they working for a Hollywood studio, film or television, or anything else for that matter. It's ridiculous nonsense. And you have to take a step back now and start to realize facts. The problem is a lot of these game developers and a lot of these Hollywood studios, you have to think for a moment where they are. You have to think of the socio-political environments that they exist in. I'm talking about places like New York and California, the deepest of the blue, the leftist of the left. It's very hard for them to, even if they would want to, try and divorce themselves from some of the more radical elements that they are absolutely drowning in out there. Now, of course, in the case of Disney, I'm sure they're more than happy to do it because Disney keeps putting both feet forward when it comes to this kind of stuff. In fact, Disney, if you recall, just about a month ago, hosted the largest LGBTQ political action conference in the world. Equal and out, or out and equal, whatever it was called. We covered that about a year or so ago when all the kerfuffle was beginning between Disney and the state of Florida. Some studios will probably try to back off, and it would be my prediction that many of these game studios and many of these Hollywood studios will slowly retreat from this over time. I'm not sure if any of them would have the stones to say, fire everybody and terminate these departments, which is what they should do. Not because of who they are, not because of their skin color, not because of who they choose to sleep with or what gender they may choose to identify as, but simply because they are an absolute waste of shareholder capital. We can see the losses piling up, whether it's Concord or things like Dustborn, or now you've got Assassin's Creed and God knows what else. Yeah, even the Halo stuff, we're going down this road. Companies haven't wised up yet. But, well, not all of them. Of course, we still have some game manufacturers and people that want to make actual entertaining content for folks out there that actually everybody enjoys. Like I said, no matter what background they come from. So we'll have to see where this goes from here. But like I said, we are past the point of no return, and there are no excuses any longer for these companies continuing to engage in this financially destructive behavior. There's only so many times you can piss off your audience before, no matter how good of a product you put out next, they just won't come back. If you don't believe me, ask Kathleen Kennedy. Sent you a legal mindset tweet. It's nice to know Japan knows that most Western audiences love what they are doing. Excuse me. Told you I was a little tired this weekend. Told you what they were doing, or love what they were doing, and woke is still small in stature. The risk is Japanese developers and creators are on the brink. They have a decision to make. They can either choose one path or the other. But they're at that point now where they have to start waking up and realizing that even though you've got all of these terrible American companies, American in name only, I should say. They're about as American as sake, all right? American in name only companies telling them that this is what American audiences are looking for. They are liars. They are damn liars. They have invented this lie to justify their own jobs, which are jokes. Their jobs serve no functional purpose in real society. Being a DEI consultant and injecting all of this crap in every industry we have, again, like I did in the opening monologue, only serves to destroy shareholder capital. But they have to try to keep justifying their existence because they spent way too much money on a college degree that is absolutely worthless. but for this fake push for all of this hard left political ideology to be injected into all these companies. If Japan wants to lead the way, if Japan wants to keep making money and keep getting actual, legitimate, real American audiences that pay people's bills, not the screaming little bitchy kids on social media, okay, whining about this, that, and the other thing, but real Americans that pay real bills for these companies, then dump the DEI, dump the LGBTQ stuff, dump the woke, dump all of it. If somebody wants to come to you and tell you that you need to change the dialogue in this, and you need to make this character trans, and you need to do this, tell them politely to go take a long walk off of a very short pier. And that's it. Just disengage. You're under no obligation to hire these wackos, so don't.
Their job is to make you lose. Sweet Baby's job is to make you lose.
That's it. And it's so bad for Sweet Baby, they just wiped out a lot of stuff on their website so they could start hiding again. And they're going to probably change their name or fly under some different banner because they have so beclowned themselves and they have been so wrecked. And it's only the beginning. Folks out there like Grums and Cabrutus and Endymion and Dread Roberts and Smash JT and all these guys, they're going to keep exposing these jackasses.
And you know what it is too, Valiant? They so these are fleecers, right? They came in 2020. We know how they did it. And they fleeced these companies into using them. And then they used the corporations to propagandize, but they destroyed the corporations. But it took 4 years in the pipeline for us to see those products come out. Now that they're out in the light. So they're going to have to find a new way to work. And by that, I mean, they'll have to find a new way to destroy stuff. Because this line of destroying stuff is over.
That was the opening monologue of the show, is that there's no excuse anymore. We have seen exactly the results of these things. Now, I understand that companies out there may not have the balls to actually come out and admit what is destroying the sales of their products. We all know what it is. They may not have the courage yet to do that, and I think at the end of the day, what it's going to take over time is attrition of these positions, especially if they're internal positions at a company. They're going to have to wait for certain people to quit and leave and move to another job and then start replacing these people that are in-house with more talented people that actually merit the job, that actually will turn in the best product possible, as opposed to just be a checkbox on a social justice sheet they can hand to the people who score their ESG for Wall Street.
And we're going to get, by the way, we're going to get a perfect ability to track this because more than half of the companies I sense are fleeing this as fast as they can. Microsoft, though, because their gaming side is subsidized by everything else Microsoft does, they're going as hard into this as they can. I mean, they are literally transforming their Xbox gaming division into
they're the Disney of gaming, and that's because of Bill Gates. Because Bill Gates is a piece of trash.
We get to watch Nintendo versus Microsoft and see how this plays out. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.